Oh, oh my God. So it's been a long time since I've done one of these. I used to do them maybe not every day, but every other morning. At one point, I got really good at doing them every morning before I went to work because that's all the free time that I had. So we're back to this again. I like this because I don't get distracted by you guys. I appreciate y'all, but I got a lot that I want to get off my chest. Okay, so give me a second. Let me get a pen because I want to knock these things out. Knock these things out the way. Hey, good morning, free as the wind. Good morning. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you can appreciate this. I'll say that. And I will definitely look you up later on after the live stream, okay? Give me a second. So, I don't know how long this is going to take me. I don't expect many people to be here, honey. It's a lot going on. It is a lot going on right now. We got the purge. Shout out to Aunt T and his purge, honey. Lots of people are alive. Well, for me, people I'm sub to are alive. I won't say a lot, but everybody's got the purge right now. I just want to come on here and talk to y'all every once in a while. And I wanted to come on camera, y'all, but I'm actually in the middle of doing my hair, which is like a damn 8-hour job. So I don't want to come here with a rag on top of my head. So I'm just going to talk. All right. Oh gosh, where do I start? I want to talk about myself. And why I came on here, I guess, in the first place. I've already told this story a million times, but I've never really gotten in depth about it. I've dropped, it's too much. I'm not on live stream long enough to explain my entire life story. We're talking about goddamn 43 years. I could never put that into an hour stream, right? Or 2 hours or 3 hours. That's why I ask that you guys, I try to ask for y'all when y'all get time to look through the videos because it's just too much. Just like most of us, right? You can't put your whole life into a few hours stream. But I've always said the issue, aside from, people not being able or just not having the time to go through live streams and try and figure out who a person is, a lot of times a lot of times people will assume that your talking points are lock and step with other people's talking points just because you're associated with the person, just because you're in a space like this space right here. I already told y'all how I found this space. It was quite accidental. I believe the first person I found was O'Shea Duke Jackson, and I just thought he was really funny. His content has changed a lot lately, but I still have a lot of respect for O'Shea just because I know his humble beginnings, okay? So, and I know the stuff that he does for people behind the scenes that he's never gotten credit for. But that's not what this is about. I don't want to make this about him, but I'm just trying to explain to you how I found this space. And anybody that knows me knows I'm kind of a goofy. I love to laugh. Love to laugh. And I have a bit of a quirky sense of humor that people don't always get unless you know me. Like, this chick is silly here. So that's how I found the space. But I'm going to be honest with y'all. I've never felt like I fit into the space. I've never felt like I belonged here. I'm going to be honest. A lot of people don't understand why I say that because I do, and I appreciate y'all's support. I do get a lot of support from y'all. But when you listen to the majority of, I guess, the thing of it is the spirit is so diverse. And I'm always saying this to y'all. It's so diverse with so many different opinions. But the loudest voices, a lot of times, they kind of rule the space, right? The loudest ones. Like, for instance, the brother that just passed, Kevin Samuels, right? So what happens, what tends to happen is people who are new or not even new, but they just weren't here from the beginning. They believe that that's the talking points of everybody in the space, even though you've been here long. You got people that have been here long before him that have completely different talking points, but they have smaller channels, so they have a smaller voice. And that's the thing that sucks really about being over here, because you could be doing the work of God, honey. You could be doing the Most High's work, honey, telling the truth, giving an honest opinion about things. And no, I won't say that it'll fall on deaf ears, because obviously if you guys are there, it's not deaf ears, but it's just like it gets drowned out by the larger YouTubers, and that's just the way it is. The only thing you can do about that is to grow your voice. And to be honest, the only way to grow your voice is to continue to put out your content. Now, my story. So I told y'all how I found the space. I told y'all about myself, what I do for a living. I've spoken about working in pediatrics for well over, almost 15 years, pediatrics alone. Different types of dentistry, but just pediatrics alone, pretty much 15 years, different offices. And not just my pediatric experience. I have a lot of experience with community centers and outreach programs, because I kept my son. My son has grown up, and I've always said this, in community centers. I can share with you a ton of footage of just kids from those outreach programs. So I've been around kids, a lot of different type of kids from different backgrounds. And then I'm from a large family, y'all. So I know a little something about kids. I know a little something about our people too. But I think it was, I don't know, it just fell on my spirit to just talk to you guys, just humble myself and just talk. Because so often when we're on panels together and we're having great conversation, or riveting conversation, whatever you want to call it, intriguing conversation, I realize that people are not going to get to know you that way. That's not how they get to know you, because you're not talking about yourself. You're talking about the subject, right? You're talking about whatever the subject is. And sometimes that gets derailed and you're talking about something else. So I like to just come over here and tell you guys a little bit about myself. What else? So I don't really too often talk about my personal life. And I've learned that's probably a smart thing to do. But I'm going to be honest, I'm a very transparent person. I don't need to get up here and make anything up for anybody. So I'm just honest with my experiences. I've talked about how I was married, divorced, married for over 10 years, married close to, I'd like to say almost, to be honest, I'm not sure. I'd like to say close to maybe 12 years, because we were separated for 2 of the years, on and off, right? So we weren't together the whole time. I've talked about my military experience, some of my traveling experience. The reason I'm bringing all these things up, y'all, is because our experience. Hey, good morning. I'm Mary. Good morning, sweetheart. I caught you live. You did a live yesterday, I believe. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. I went back and watched it. It was very good. I'm just talking to the people. I hope I don't bore y'all to death, but sometimes I get up here, honey, and I just got to testify. And like I say, I do that so people can get to know me. They don't have to hear it or wonder or guess or assume. They can say, you know what? Well, she's talked about this before on her channel. All right, so let's get to it. My son's father. Oh gosh, it's so much. Should I start there, or should I start with my upbringing here? I'll start with my son's father. My son's father, my ex-husband, is a very good man. Is a very good man. And I've been questioned to, well, why didn't it work out if he's such a good man? Well, because sometimes things don't work out, and that doesn't mean the people involved in the situation are bad. I know I'm not a bad person, and he's not a bad person either. Sometimes, life is funny. You could plan for something all you want to, but let me tell you something. The Most High is in control. At the end of the day, the Most High is in control. Now, I could sit up here years later and talk about shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's not going to change a damn thing, so I'm not going to do that. I'm the type of person that I just kind of accept life for what it is, and I learn from it. That's the thing. That's the key, is to learn from it. Don't become bitter. Don't become angry. Don't become somebody that you're not proud to be. Learn from it and help people from the things you've learned. I give this man a lot of respect because I have a lot of respect for him. Good morning, Yusef. I'm glad you caught me, sweetie. Yusef, you need to come up in here when I'm more. See, it's early in the morning and I'm still like dragging, y'all. I usually have a little bit more energy. Hey, Bullets. Long time no see. It's good to see you, sweetie. I saw you on somebody's channel. Hey, Chaos, good to see you. So let me get to the point. Let me just talk, y'all. I'm gonna be up here a while, so just thank you for coming through, and I hope y'all are having a good morning, honey. Okay. Lord have mercy. So my ex-husband was a elder. He is an elder, and he was a practicing Hebrew Israelite for a very, very long time. I would dare say one of the originators. It's been around a very long time. But I don't think they really came to the forefront. Like, people didn't really know about them until maybe the late 60s. Now, I can't quote him on that. He's been on the show a time or two. I might invite him again to the show. But I learned a lot from that man. Hebrew Israelites get a bad rep. And unfortunately, like I said, the people with the loud voices, a lot of times are not the right people to listen to. They're not necessarily the people that are walking it like they're talking it. They just got the loud mics. They just got the loud voices. I've talked about this. When I was married to him, it was a whole different experience. That's why I've always respected pastors' wives and stuff, because that's a hard life to live, honey. Getting calls to your house at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, but you got to let him do his work, or let her do her work, because they gotta minister to people. They gotta help people. People call you when I say about anything and everything. You're not going to turn them down when they're thinking about taking their life, committing suicide. You're not going to turn them down when they're like going through the worst strife in their life. You're going to sit on that phone and talk to them. And oftentimes I would even get, I had to sort of learn to be a counselor myself. I don't know how good I was at it because I always just followed my heart. I wasn't a master of the Bible. Well, I knew the Bible, but I wasn't a master of it, and I never claimed to be. I've talked about all this, you guys. But the point is, I learned a lot from him. And when I came on YouTube, because I'm just a little country girl from the South, when I came on YouTube, I heard these men yelling and cursing. Keep in mind, my ex-husband, never yelled and cursed, ever. Doesn't curse. Doesn't hardly yell. Doesn't hardly raise his voice. So it was really strange to me. I'm like, you got to see this. These people say they're Hebrew Israelites, but they don't act nothing like we do. And, we've had plenty of conversations about real life versus this internet life versus this YouTube life. And it's like night and day, y'all. And it's very frustrating for real people to kind of to understand what the hell is going on with these with the hell with the YouTube life. Like it's for me, it's like night and day. For example, you had people on here on YouTube. Y'all, I don't have a plan. Normally I have more of a layout, but I had to get some things off my chest. And I figured I'd start with my past and my training and my upbringing and my positioning and why and my love for Black people. But it's so much that encompasses it. It's so much that's happened. It's really hard to put it all into an hour live. It's damn near impossible. But I figured I'd start there because that's where my training really first began. That's when I first learned who I was as a daughter of the Creator. That's when I really understood my purpose to my people. Being married to him, far as his position, an elder in the community, a Hebrew Israelite elder, gave me a position. I had wives calling me, telling me things. Some of them were very distraught. Some of them were in horrible relationships. And this is not YouTube right now. This is real life. Being abused. Or they had a husband that wouldn't work. A husband that would bring home another wife, wouldn't even tell her. That's not lawful, y'all. And that's not biblical. It's not. Even and with some, not, first of all, let me just make some things clear. All Hebrew Israelites do not practice polygamy. That's another false thing. We all don't practice polygamy. I did not practice polygamy, but we knew people that did. We had friends that did. And we didn't look down on them. That was their choice to do. But even at that, there's a way to go about it. You don't disrespect your wife. Your wife shouldn't come home and find another woman in the bed. There's nothing lawful about that. As a matter of fact, when you look at most stories, most people don't like it when I say stories, but when you look at Bible and when men took on another wife, usually it was in the event that the wife actually, for whatever reason, I want to make sure I use my wording correctly, but that the wife kind of okayed it. You know what I'm saying? The husband just come home and say, here's your second wife. Okay. Here's your third wife. That's not how it works. There was a level of respect. And then what happens is you have these people that misuse the Bible, point blank, period. They memorize some scripture and they know a lot of these sisters are young and new. Some of them have never even said their daily prayer, honey. So they don't know anything. Some, not all of them, but some of them don't. And they take advantage of that. And some of these people are hurt. Some of these women are hurt. They've been told that they are pretty much, you know, the bottom of the barrel, and they're lucky that, a man would even wife them up and give them a chance and take in their kids and do this and that. And they believe it. But see, my training was different. My training actually was by a Hebrew Israelite sister, because before I married my son's father, I went under training to another Hebrew Israelite sister, and I might bring her on for a year. And listen, ladies, just because you can't check your brains at the door when you have a man. You can't. You can't use that as an excuse. Because when it all comes down to it, honey, you have to account for the things that you've done in this life. You guys aren't going to go to you guys aren't going to see the pearly gates together. When it's your time, it's your time. And when it's his time, it's his time. So you can only account for yourself. And if you feel uncomfortable with something that you're doing, you're going to be accountable for it. So you've got to answer. My thing is, mahogany's not going to do anything that I can't answer for, that makes me feel uncomfortable, that I can't look myself in the mirror after I've done it. Okay. And so that's basically what I would tell them. If you love this man and he's forcing you, or you feel like you're being pressured to do something that you don't want to do, you need to voice that. And if that's not what you signed up for, then that's not what you signed up for, and you don't have to tolerate it. You need to learn that Bible for yourself. You need to sit and meditate and have your own relationship with the Most High yourself. You need your own relationship with him. The order is important. There is an order for a household, right? And the order is God, man, woman, and child. But guess what? Guess what, honey? Regardless, the Father is the creator, and he's yours. And so he don't want to see his children mistreated, man or woman. So that's something that I would always say, And then you're not obligated to follow a man if they're unlawful anyway. And bringing, that's just one example, but bringing random women home in your house is unlawful. It's immoral. It's just not right. So anyway, I'm going kind of off on a tangent. Let me look at you guys. Sometimes it's hard for me to look at you guys because I'll get distracted. Hey, MTG, I'm surprised all of y'all are up. Oh my God, but it is 5 a.m. Hey, good morning. Let me go up. Wow. I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised because I was thinking nobody would be over here. I know the purge is going on. And that's why I think I saw you bullets. Were you on the purge? Anyway. Hey, MTG TV. MTGV TV. Hey, Tony Anthems. Let me just say to y'all. Hey, TCB. HCU Queen. Oh, hugs, boo. Hugs. Let me see what Alpha says. And they shall be one. Okay, go ahead and quote that scripture. Yeah, that's true. But that doesn't mean that she has to follow. You have men that are unlawful, Alpha. And see, that's the thing. We don't talk about all unlawful people who are not following in lockstep. Now, let's say a woman is in a marriage and the marriage started off good. It's not all, people are people. And guess what? It might not always be good. So now we'll just use some examples. Now, instead of coming home, he's not hardly coming home. He's running around across town with, whoever. Kiki. He's disrespecting you. Right? We can't follow that type of. What household is he leading? Because he's leading you down to hell, honey. That's where he's leading you to. So women have to use their brains, point blank, period. We have to be, at the end of it all, we have to be accountable for ourselves at the end. My husband can be out there doing anything, and Lord, this conversation is taking I'm trying to explain to you just my training and my background in the position that I held in my small little town, my little community that I was from at that point in time. Okay, when I had my son. And I saw it all. And I've talked about this on this channel about fake Hebrew Israelites. I have. I stopped talking about it because at the time I was so highly affiliated. I was, believe it or not, you guys, when I initially, I think I was still in the military, I want to say. When I first started this channel, I was still in the military. I was in the reserves. And there was a lot of, interest, I'll put it that way, in the Hebrew Israelite community. Basically, because of all the negativity that's online, the military looks at the Hebrew Israelites as basically a domestic terrorist threat. We're not. The good ones are not. We're not. But that's how they look at it. And I knew that. And so for my own family's protection and for my protection, I just never spoke of it. But people who knew me, they knew what I was. They know who my ex-husband was. They knew me. And it's, like I said, it's not because I'm ashamed of it. I've never been ashamed of my past or who I am now. I'm not ashamed of anything. I came on here and told y'all. I just, kind of limited it to that. I also told y'all about my upbringing in the church. My mom went back. She became a pastor. I've told you guys about that. I grew up in the church. So I'm just sharing. Let me look at you guys. Now I feel kind of bad because normally I like to give you guys a little something better than this. But it's 12 and hey, 12 veils. Let me see. Oh yeah, and Amari was talking about polygamy in his on his live. I forgot about that. Says ninjas want 2 wives but have that. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, you got to be able to provide for your family. And in the world that we live in today, most people cannot provide for, a small household, let alone a multi-family household, because a lot of these men that have multiple wives, a lot of these women have children already. And what happens, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. What happens is, give me a second, Alpha. What happens is a lot of times the wife that they're not necessarily getting the sex from, I'm going to be quite frank, the one they're less dependent on financially, she gets completely neglected. And the children get neglected. And that's why I'm be honest, I'm not a proponent for it. Our society just is not made for that. That's just my opinion. Although I don't look down on anybody that does it. I don't think it's a good, I'm going to be honest, from the experiences that I've seen, I don't think most of the time, I dare say 99% of the cases that I know of never work out. They never work out, not for a long period of time. Barely, not even 10 years. Because, like I said, a lot of people abuse the scripture and they hold it over people's heads, and it's just wrong, and it's wicked. It's wrong. It's taking advantage. A lot of times, a lot of these women are young and gullible and naive. They're uneducated. And they're flat out desperate, a lot of them. That's not everybody. But it is a lot of the cases. The man wants to claim a wife, not even see her for months at a time, has a baby with her, don't send her no kind of support for the child, right? But he wants to claim her as a wife. And then when he gets mad with his main chick, right? Then he goes and thinks he can just pop up on the other girl, right, with the baby. But she's not supposed to move on. She can't move on. Now she's a whore and this and that. And he wants to try and put hands on her and do all this and that. But she hasn't even heard from you, dude. in 6 months. And I mean, and when I say she hasn't heard from you, she hasn't heard from you at all. Nothing. Your own child hasn't heard from you. This is pure evil. This is wickedness. It's neglect. It's abusive. That's what it is. And then, like I said, they like to hit you with the scripture. What about the scripture that if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat? What, you know what? Let me pull, because I don't have the Bible with me right now. I'm just talking to y'all. Where's my Bible? But there's plenty of scriptures too. You're supposed to take care of your family, and if you're not doing that, you're not. You can't hold that position when you're not. Listen, you can't just claim that position, and you haven't been doing it for 6 months. That's not how it works. So yeah, needless to say, a lot of people just didn't want to hear that. They didn't like what my ex-husband was saying. They didn't like what I was saying, but who cares? We're not there for you to like us. We're there to just preach the word and just spread the word. It's not about you and so you can keep your harem of women going. No, that's not what it's about. Alpha, you keep on repeating the same thing. I understand that. I know what marriage vows are. I understand what that is. Two shall become one. But guess what? Guess what, Alpha? What happens when a part of your body, let me tell you something. If I got a flesh-eating bacteria on my leg, honey, that might take my life, even though I might not want to. I'm a tie a tourniquet. Y'all know what a tourniquet is? I'm about to tie a tourniquet, and I'm going to cut that motherfucker off because I'm trying to save my life. So if you're married to a spouse that's taking you downhill, you better take that tourniquet and cut it off. That's what I'm saying. We all know that husband and wife should stick together, of course. But there are limitations no matter what. And you have to be accountable for your actions. You have to be. Let me tell y'all a story. This is a true story since we're getting into this. Since we're going to get down to the Hebrew Israelites. Let's get down to the Hebrew Israelites. Because one thing I know, this is something I know. For over 20 years, you understand me. So we had a brother. We knew of a brother. I believe he's not even no longer in the faith. I know his wives. He had 3 wives at one point, and they all eventually left. You want to know why they left? One by one. He was married to the first one for many years, but he had lust in his eyes and in his heart. So after his first wife got older and she did become sickly, maybe, who knows? I don't know. Maybe it was her idea to seek another wife. I'm not sure. But he got a second wife. And after that, I believe they were married a good 5 years. But then, that lustful eye. And yes, I'm going to say lustful eye because that's the only thing I can call it. Because he really couldn't afford to take care of them. He really couldn't. As a matter of fact, he really wasn't. Because they were working and he wasn't. Truth be told. See, I'm going to tell the truth. After that third wife, wasn't it the marriage? Everybody left after about, I'd say, less than 2 years. And it wasn't the third wife's fault. The problem was that you had somebody with a lustful eye that wanted everything his way and had no concern for his partners. Absolutely none. You know why the women left? Because he had the 3 wives, and I guess that wasn't good enough. But somehow they became infected with HIV. And guess what? So let's talk about alpha. Everybody became infected with HIV, right? I have no clue I have no clue about that. But that's why I say you got to be accountable to walk your road. And guess what? Guess what was even sadder as that woman cried her eyes out to me. She just did what she thought was right as a wife. She did what she thought, what she was told, right? To follow her husband, to submit to her husband. But what she was submitting to was a lustful spirit. What she was submitting to was the pure devil. Because he was out there. Well, not just them, but prostitutes, the whole nine. And he brought home something that ultimately brought those women to their demise. So, like I said, we can't check our brains at the door, and we can't you ultimately have to be accountable for you. And if you have a spouse, whether it's man or woman that's kind of falling down the wrong path, if they're down the wrong path, you got to do what you got to do so that they don't bring you down also. Do you think, and you know what's sad, do you think anybody, I did, of course, because I'm a very empathetic, sympathetic person. But do you think the Hebrew Israelite community as a whole, do you think they surrounded her and comforted her with love? Or do you think they told her, oh, she needs to stay with her husband? And he's out there sleeping with prostitutes, which is wicked. Whoremongering. That's wicked. You follow a righteous man, ladies. You follow a righteous man. And for whatever reason that man becomes unrighteous, or if he's not what you thought that he was, he's not righteous at all, then you don't follow him down to the pits of hell. You got to cut him off. That was my point in the stories that I was telling. Now, I'm going to get to some other things. I've got to move on past this Hebrew Israelite stuff, but that was one of the saddest cases, I think, that I knew of. There were many, but that was one of the saddest ones. I know one sister passed away. I don't know about the other one. I left. I went into the military. When I came back, I just knew that the wives were not there anymore. Okay, so let's get to it. Welcome, you guys. This is not how I want you guys to start your morning. So while you listen to me, go and get your coffee. Good morning, Brandy. Go and go toast you something, put a little butter on your toast, and just chill and relax with me. I'm telling you guys about my past, a little bit about my history, so you can get to know me. Okay, let me see 12. Hey, 12, good to see you. Says, I've had a friend that's a Hebrew Israelite, and she had 10 kids. Wow. 9 by her Israelite man that has children with other women as well. Yeah, and you know what? I have no judgment. Let me tell you, I'm from a very large family. Very large family. My grandmother had 12 kids. My sister had, a lot of kids, and I love children. So, I'm okay with that. If you can take care of them, that's fine. But take care of them. Don't neglect them. And that's the thing. When you talk about multiple households, when you talk about polygamy, and especially different states, and that's just not, that's not, it's not going to work. Because I've told y'all this. When my baby is sick at 2 a.m. in the morning, and you telling me you can't come because you're laid up with wife number 4, right? And my baby's fighting for his life in the hospital, and you can't come, and you can't catch a plane because you know what I'm saying? Because no, it's not going to be good enough. For me, that's not going to be good enough, ever. So I wish these women, too, would really think about that before they get into these type of relationships. Another thing, since we're talking about it, that's unlawful as hell is having multiple wives, having sexual relations with multiple wives in the same bedroom. That's very unlawful. And come to find out, we got Negroes out here doing that, turning their house into a pornography studio. But like I always say, y'all, particularly ladies, you can't, you got to use your heads, man. You have a brain, you got to use it. You can't let your love of a person or what you believe is love, I call it just plain on desperation a lot of times, lead you down to the pits of hell. You doing some stuff that you know is not wicked. I mean, that you know is wicked. So anyway, let me go down here. Let me go down. So that's I can't read everything. Yeah, 12 says that's wicked. Hey, RPA. Let me read some. Hey, Auntie. Aren't you on your purge right now, boo? Hey, El Nixon. Yes, I hopped in from the clouds. You know I'm nosy as hell. I had to stay off the purge, and I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be good, but I keep on, falling into some stuff. But anyway, let me get back to it. Let me see what Brandy says. That's awful. My ex-husband was a cheater and I left his ass. The Most High brought a wonderful man. Hello. I'm glad I have him. Don't stay with any man. That's right. And sometimes we block our blessings, y'all, holding on to, and that's with anything in life. I had a job, y'all. It was a decent job. I mean, it was, and at that time, because I was straight out of school, it was the most money I ever made. So I thought I was in it. I was making money, right? Don't you know, as soon as I left this job, those people started mistreating me. As soon as I left that job, don't you know, I got a job immediately making damn near $5 more than what I was making before. And right after that, got another job making $5 more than I was making before that job. The blessings just kept on coming. Sometimes you can be a hindrance to your own blessing. And I blame that on fear. A lot of times people, hey, boo, people are just fearful and they let their fears control them. Oh, Mother was up there? Okay. I'm going to come back to it. I peeped in and then I peeped out. Y'all know I be watching from the clouds, honey. So this divesting, let's talk about, see, this is why. I'm going to talk a little bit about this, y'all, then I'm going to get back to y'all. The divesting. So this is what I'm doing right now. Right now, I'm clarifying my opinions about things so people just know what are Mahogany's opinions, right? So this is my thing. I am not against, what do you call it? Interracial relationships. It's not what I'm looking for, but I realize people can, listen, you find love wherever you find it, right? I just have an issue when people put down their own people, because I'm going to be honest, I only see Black folks doing that. I don't see other races of people putting down all their people, saying that other people are better than their own people. That's the part that really rubs me the wrong way. Just like I've called out the men on here talking about they going overseas because they ain't no good women. The divestment, but I've always said, y'all got to remember, divestment is different than interracial relationships, because I think divestment is a little bit more, and see, that's the thing. I don't really listen to it, so I can't really, I don't want to speak on something I don't know too much about. I just know, be careful. I just saw on somebody's YouTube channel in South Africa, and we had it happen here in the United States, where a dude infected lots and lots of Black women. Let me tell you something. This is just my advice, listen to the old girl, right? Whenever a man, no matter the race, and y'all tell me if I'm lying, if a man think he can bust you down, he gonna do that. He don't have to like you to bust you down. Do you understand? Just like I tell these men, they act like sleeping with these women of other races is going to bring world peace. Y'all still getting killed in the streets, honey. It has not brought world peace. All this fucking has not brought world peace. It hasn't. And I'm saying that to say that just because somebody sleeps with you, just because you can even marry somebody, does not mean that they have your best interests at heart. So the most recent story was um, a Caucasian man in South Africa infecting 400 and believing to be racist. You got to look at that, y'all, especially if you're coming out seemingly desperate. That's what I'm telling y'all. Don't be desperate for a man, any man, any man. You better find some peace within yourself before you go out here looking for a man. Because there's low down people in every race and every culture. You think a racist person went and sleep with you with the intention to hurt you? He knew what he was doing. He purposely gave those women HIV. Now I got to look more into the story because I know the one that happened here in the United States. Come to find out, a lot of those women that he was sleeping with were prostitutes. So it wasn't the average woman that he was sleeping with, and a lot of people didn't mention that fact, and that's important. That's important. I mean, you're sleeping with prostitutes, of course, So, yeah. Anyway, let me get back to. Oh gosh, this conversation is taking a turn. So that was my Hebrew Israelite experience. Some of it. But I also had some good experiences. I met a lot of people. I fellowship with a lot of good people. There's a lot. And my ex-husband is one of them. He's a good person, a good man. Very good man. And he helped me raise an amazing kid. Truth be told, I'm just being honest. My first property, he helped me buy my first property. He didn't have to, but he did. As a matter of fact, because we were so young, I met him at 19, got married at 20. As a matter of fact, he actually taught me how to drive. I knew nothing. He could have easily have taken advantage of me and steered me wrong, but he didn't. He actually loved me. And I loved him. But the Most High had plans. And for the life of me, I'm not sure. It might have just been so we could produce our son and bring that beautiful king into the world. That might have been our purpose. And be the good friends that we are. And I'm okay with it. If that was his purpose, then I am okay with it. All right, you guys, let's look and see what's being said. Let's see. Let me see. Let me go down. Say white men are attractive. No, I listen. I'm not saying that they're not. I know that, child. I know that. Let me tell you something. Even before now, like in my 20s and my 30s, hell, I mean, now I'm not so much. I don't really put myself out there like that, but I stayed getting hit on by all types of men. I'm keep it real with you. So some of these people on here aren't being honest. It's a lie. Black women are absolutely gorgeous, and a lot of men see that. And we have good spirits and good hearts. A lot of things that are said on this internet is just pure fucking filth and just not true. And I think some people are talking from their experiences, and I think some people just they haven't really lived, so they don't really know like anything outside of their own little bubble. They haven't really traveled even the United States very much, so they haven't seen other cultures and child, please, honey. When I say literally every ethnicity, from Hawaiian to Korean to Chinese to white to black to Mexican, I've been hit on. So you ain't got to tell me that, honey. I know. And that's all right. Men are going to be men. That's the stories that you have experienced. Right. It's, just my experiences. But like I said, I've also known really good Hebrew Israelites. Okay, so her reality when one of I don't think she's a like I said, I don't listen to everybody, but I don't think she's necessarily I don't, I'm not going to speak on that. She didn't used to be, but like I said, content changes around here and people change. So, but I know before she was not so much pushing divestment, but I know a lot of her followers now are divestment. And, that was happened because of some merging of the content creators. So, all right, so let's get down to it. Let me look down. Y'all talking about the purge. Okay, let me skip down, y'all. Let's see what 12 says. 12 says Black men divesting to Filipino women because they can cater to the Black men. You know what, sweetie? Wow, thank you guys. I'm surprised all of y'all are up. Child, I was expecting to be up here talking to me and two other people. Okay, so let's talk about what 12 says. Filipino women because they can cater to Black men. Let's talk about this. I got to talk about this. I wasn't going to on this stream, but I'm going to talk about it. So I have sisters and I have brothers and I have uncles, like many of us do. But I do notice a difference in men, right? The men, like my grandfather, my uncles, my brothers, their egos are very strong and put together. But it seems like a lot of men online's egos, I'm not saying all of them, a lot of theirs are kind of fragile. They're like the whole submission thing. Submission is usually not a problem for the average man, and they don't have to go requesting it and demanding it and make me a sandwich. That doesn't typically happen like that. It's more of a mutual give and take relationship. So that leads me to think that a lot of these men, just, I'm gonna be honest, the sense I'm getting is a lot of them, either they've had a bad experience, right? And they're a little bit angry about it. They're wanting that submission from a woman because maybe they've never had it. It's one of two things, Oh, so you're okay with the divestment, just don't come back. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. So you say, okay, so you're saying, okay, you're okay with divestment, just don't come back. But is it the same for Black men that date out? Do you feel that way for them also? I'd like for you to answer that, RPA. If you feel the same way about them, then okay. Then it's we on equal playing field. But you can't say this is how we feel about the women, but yet the men can, spread their seed all over the world and it's okay. I'm just saying, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let me see what y'all are saying. Actually, I'm going to start from the bottom and kind of work my way up. Sometimes. Well, let me tell you, I got news for you. A lot of us got some psychological problems anyway. You see that, honey. We are messed up. We are very messed up. But you know what? I have grace with us, y'all. I have grace with us because I know our conditions, not just in this country, but especially in this country, but our conditions, that the things that we had to overcome were so horrific. So horrific. I did a show back during Black History Month back in February about slavery, and I was showing both the men and women and the torturous things that happened to them. I got very little views. If y'all get time, please go back and check that out. Because I've heard men get on here and say, Black women didn't go through anything. Oh, the hell they didn't. Your body was not your own. Your body was not your own. You were breaded out. You were whipped while you were pregnant. Your babies were cut out of you. No medication, by the way. You were experimented on. You have no ideas the horrors. And yet all we could do is sit up here and talk shit on each other. We don't respect the elders that came before us. We don't respect each other now. As much as I love Black people are extreme. We have We have a lot of work to do, and some of us are not going to make it. And all I can do is pray for us. We've got a lot of work to do. A lot. But before that work can begin, we got to know who we are. I believe personally that we're the chosen people. The people that he talked about in the Bible. I believe that. Given a special gift, right? Kissed by the sun. Don't even realize it. People would like to downplay, the Messiah and the importance of what he looked like. But he looked like if he looked like what they say, he looked like he was dark. He had bronze skin and woolly hair. And he was the image of his father. So if he looked like me, yes. That makes me very proud. I just want us to see ourselves the way I see us. I wish that all of us could. Because if you saw yourself as the best, why do you need to look anywhere else when you're the best? You know what I'm saying? If you really saw yourself as the best, why do you need to look anywhere else anyway? But he said it, honey. He said we are stiff-necked people, honey. Let's get down to it. Thank you, guys. Let me see. I'm going to have to kind of skip through. Yeah, listen, don't worship anybody. Don't worship listen. You have low-class people in every race. I don't know why. I think people that just worship a race of people, they really have not been exposed. That's all it could be. They really haven't been exposed, y'all. They really haven't. I work in the medical field, y'all. I have friends that work in the medical field. And child, some of the stories I tell, and guess what, that they tell, that we tell. And guess what? They're all different races of people. All different races. And people, there's a lot more to it. Sometimes it's a psychological thing with some people, why they don't take care of themselves. But you have that in every race. It crosses the board. And I think a lot of people just haven't been exposed. They just haven't been exposed to other types of people. So they just automatically think, oh, this person's a different race. They're better. Oh, no, honey. No. I kind of don't want to talk about this because so many people watch my channel. But, when I was in the service, we would have inspections. And we had soldiers whose homes were so filthy. I mean, it got out like literally cat feces everywhere, not bathing. Like, you, child, please, you don't know. You don't know, and it has nothing to do with race. It really doesn't. Let me get off of that soapbox. I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm trying to get to your comments, but I don't want you guys to feel any type of way if I have to skip through some. Hey, Freddie Green, good morning. Yes. I think people should love whom they choose. That's my preference. Yep. Yeah, that's right. 12 Houses Hotel. Good morning, Black Rain. Y'all, also, I'm going to be up here a few more minutes, so you can drop your link. Black Rain, I appreciate you. He gave me a shout out, and he recommended my channel to the people, and I shared his video. Black Rain is awesome. He's a great channel holder and a supporter. All of you guys are. 12 Veils. All y'all come through, communicate with each other. Yusef. I be watching his cooking because y'all know I love to cook. That brother be cooking. And I mean, he cooks every day. I don't know how he stays so slim and trim because he eat like I do. I love fried food. Like he was frying chicken one day. I'm like, oh my God. I think I fried chicken that same night because he put me in the mood for fried chicken. But anyway, let me get to it. Let me kind of scroll through. Free to Green. Let me scroll up. Let's see what our PA is talking about. Oh, let me see what Yusef said. I didn't see this. It says other races socialize their girls to grow into brides. Our culture conditions them to be baby mamas and by themselves. Other races socialize. I got to read this slow so I make sure I understand every word. That's true. That's true, Yusef. And you know what? We got to do as Black folks. Like I said earlier, we know that there's bad in the community. We all know that. But we can't live our lives based on all the negative things that are happening in our community. You know, listen, I can't say most of us, I don't know. Some of us come from very disenfranchised communities, environments. I did at one point, but then my mom, she got herself together and we moved out of that situation. And when I started my family, I was determined. That was not going to be me. I was determined. No matter what, whether I had a husband or not, my child was going to, that he was going to be pretty much the best that I could help him be. And how did I do that? I utilized the community. Like I said, my son grew up in community centers. He grew up under tutelage of different people. So here we go. Here's another talking point that I've heard about I keep on hearing the statistics about Black boys not being able to read. Well, this is the thing. And I can't remember who brought this up about statistics. Somebody was talking about statistics. I will say this and I've said this. Statistics are not for everybody to try and understand because there's an art to. Do you know there's people who get paid to do this? So let's say there's a stat, right, that comes out. Black boys, what do they say? They're not reading, right? Okay. So someone might derive from that, okay, well, Black boys are this is what they say. I'm not saying it's even true. This is what they say. But this is how I'm showing you that things get twisted and fucked up. They'll say, oh, well, most Black children are being raised by single mothers, right? Because everybody, for some weird reason, likes to blame thing on single mothers. Okay. First of all, single mothers weren't single at I'm so sick. I'm fucking sick. I'm not going to lie. I'm tired of the single mothers bullshit. Because there's a lot of people, I'd say most of the people in this goddamn section of YouTube probably had single mothers. And a lot of us turned out old goddamn K. So stop it. Stop it. And that's something that children do. They blame the parent that wasn't there for them. I mean, the parent that was there instead of the parent that wasn't there. That's some crazy shit to me. So your parent that was there struggled to feed you and put food on the table. She could never do anything right. He or she could never do anything right. But you're going to give praise to the one that wasn't there. Make that shit make some sense. But anyway, back to the statistics. This is my example. Okay, so they say, that child was raised by a single mother. It's her fault. Well, see, that's the lack of knowledge right there. Because somebody who understands, and I took statistics in college. I took a little something. But it goes deeper than that. Because that's just one correlation. In most statistics, there's many correlations, and you got to break those down. Okay, so first of all, let's define single mothers. Single mothers just means they're not married. That does not mean there's not a man in the house. That's number one. So that's one factor. Number two, are we taking into account that these single households are in very poor economic neighborhoods? Or, so maybe economic status matters, right? Maybe that has something to do with it. Are we taking into account that, and I know for a fact about that. I'll tell y'all a little bit about that after I get through with this. So now economic status, and when you break that down, you look at lack of funding, right? When I came out of the military, I volunteered at my son's school, and they didn't even have goddamn books, y'all. Same schools right now, completely shut down. They didn't even have books. Instead of the state funding the school's books, honey, they were more concerned about putting bricks in the freaking main street of downtown Charleston. That's just how little they gave a damn about our kids. But when you look at that statistic, you think, oh, it's a single woman's fault, not looking at the whole complete situation. Lots of single women have men in the households. Then when you look at the economic situation, who don't know that when poor neighborhoods yield, I hate to say it, but they have lower level schools, and that's because a lot of times schools aren't getting the funding. So there's lots of things that go into this. You can't just look at a statistic. If you don't know how to break down the statistics, please stop trying to do it, because you just don't know, and that's okay. But instead of spreading it as the truth, you might want to take your time and do your research about it and break it down fully. And that's been my complaint about this space for a long time. A lot of people do that. They'll yell out a statistic, and it's just absolute bullshit, because they're not really breaking it down in its entirety. It's really manipulative is what it is. It really is. And I'm convinced that a lot of people, and particularly in this space, just want Black women to be just the worst things on the planet. I'm personally tired of it. I'm tired of the negative environment. I'm tired of these discussions. I'm tired of just blaming one side. I'm just tired of it. I'm sick of it. I've been over here talking to the goddamn moon for 3 years, y'all. That's what I feel like. I'm talking to the moon, because I do have such a small platform. But I do it so nobody can say, well, nobody's ever talked, nobody's ever said that, nobody's ever done that. That's a lie. And I've heard that too. A lot of larger YouTubers think that nobody's talking about things. We are talking about it. It just doesn't get the traction because we don't have the following. But that doesn't mean people aren't talking about it. Okay, so let me look back at y'all. I'm going to start from the bottom, y'all. Forgive me if I got to skip through. Let's see. Hey, Mr. Random. He's another one to get to know. Hey, Blue Devil. I'm going to try and just see people. Grandparents played a huge role in raising us back then. Oh, yeah. Y'all know my grandmother's almost 100. My mother is in her 70s. Let's see what Alpha says. He says, I had trouble reading in school, was raised by a single mom, and don't know who dad is. And I want you to know, Alpha, I appreciate your dialogue. I really do. I like to be able to match wits and have conversations with y'all. I became mania of the statistics, unfortunately. That's okay, honey. That's the walk, honey. Nobody lives. People like to act like they're perfect, but nobody walks the road perfectly. Nobody does. I'm not necessarily proud of my divorce, but I'm not ashamed of it. I learned from it. You know what I'm saying? I learned what not to do in my next relationship. I learned, positive things also. Learn a lot of positive things. So, says, you boo, I got to get back to editing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that, Yusef. Well, he's gone now, but yes, he said adult literacy is it's important too. Y'all know I'm blind as hell. Now let me see. He said, we also can't let the negativity outweigh the righteous. We have to denounce and neutralize the BS. We can't just ignore another century away. That's 3 generations. Mm-hmm. We have to denounce. Yes, you're right. You're right, Yusef. You know what it is? I'm tired. Your girl been over here talking to the moon, honey, for 3 years, and I'm just tired. And you're right. We need people like y'all, all of y'all, to keep it up, to denounce the foolishness. We really do. So I'm going to try and bring this to a close, this part. And I guess I'll have to get up here and talk some more. But y'all just be patient with your girl. So that position that I held taught me a lot about people, about men, about women, about myself. Yeah, about myself. In that marriage, I was very young and naive, and I was uh, very innocent. And like I said, I'm very grateful that he loved me. He genuinely loved me, because so many men, the wrong man, y'all, the wrong man would have took my innocence and took my usefulness and my eagerness to learn and completely abused it. But I've always believed that the Most High has watched out for me. I've always believed that. And now that I've fought death at it several times, I'm convinced that he walks with me. Like I'm convinced that he walks with y'all, whether you know it or not, whether you realize who you are or not. He knows who you are, whether you realize it or not. He knew who I was. And he led me to someone that could open my eyes so I could see. Now, me and my husband, we had plenty of conversations. And at first it was really, I had never heard some of these things before. Never heard some of these things. You know, I came up Christian in a Christian household. I told y'all we went to church 5 days a week, honey. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We went to church all the time. So, you know, I didn't know anything about this, Hebrew Israelite. What's that? But he took his time with me. He never put me down. Never. He always actually uplifted me. Always uplifted me. You know, I'll hear some of these other brothers say things like, oh, uh, and let me tell you, I was bringing this about. I was on another platform, but also I was watching from the clouds. I think I was watching GMS or whatever. It's another Hebrew Israelite group. Sometimes I like to go over there and watch the conscious community and the Hebrew Israelites. I watch. They're not. I mean, they are not. Oh God. There's a few of them that I watch. I can't remember all of the Hebrew Israelite camps. But basically, but I will say they're a lot different from us down south. A lot different, uh, from what I can tell online. But anyway, Lord, let me get it together. I completely lost where I was going with this. But that brother, what did he say? There's just so much hypocrisy and foolishness. Women are not dogs, are not animals to be mistreated. And I feel like some of these men, due to their fragile egos, quite frankly, They really have to do that to make themselves feel important. And that's what I see from some of those men on some of those camps, not all of them. And that's what I'm saying. They give the rest of the Hebrew Israelite men a bad rep. Because you got some good brothers, like my ex-husband. You really do. That man never made me feel like I was less than. He actually told me, you know, my position is the head of the household. Well, he didn't tell me that. I knew that. I grew up in the church. But he said, you know what? A lot of women look at that as some kind of, like that's a problem. It shouldn't be a problem for you. I might be the head, but you're my neck. Now you tell me what the hell happens if somebody breaks my neck. What the hell is going to happen if somebody breaks your man's neck, right? Can the body just go on? What's going to happen? Right. And so I'm saying that to say that he taught me in a way that I could be proud of who I am as a woman and my position that I held, right? And I think that's why a lot of women, because I was very, 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 I did not understand. But when he broke it down to me like that, I understood the importance of my position. You can be led, but make sure you're being led in the right direction. That's number one. But number two, you have to be accountable. At the end of your life, it's only going to be you. It's only going to be you. So don't do anything that that doesn't sit well with you, because you have to live with it. Trying to think after the whole Hebrew Israelite thing. I really think that's it, y'all. I think I've kind of discussed what I wanted to discuss. Like I said, it's way too much. Maybe next time I'll talk a little bit more about, what happened after that marriage dissolved. Like I said, we're still very close. We're like best friends. We get along well. Yeah, so it's not too much else. Hey, Angel, good to see you, boo. In small packets, big things come in small packets. Hey, y'all. Well, y'all, I'm actually, I have steam and then I fizzle out, honey. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning, so I think I'm gonna call it a day. Thank you all. Thank all of you beautiful people for coming through. I just wanted to talk to you guys, tell you guys a little bit about myself, kind of share how I was feeling. I feel like there's something else I want to tell y'all though. I think I'll end it there for today, y'all. I think I'll end it there. But I'm so happy to see all of you. Y'all have a blessed weekend. I will see you soon on these YouTube streets, honey. I appreciate you. Thanks. Remember to like the video.